Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of GEOSeries here at EUSI. My name is Matthew Shelnut. I'm the Director of Communications here at European Space Imaging. And today I'm joined by Arnaud Durand, also with EUSI, and Nicholas Buque with Umbra Space. So today's topic will be the combined tasking of very high-resolution optical and SAR imagery, mostly for time-critical applications. So today we'll mostly focus on use cases for security, GeoInt, and emergency response. But the data and the methods presented here today definitely have far-reaching applications in a number of industries. So please feel free to ask any questions that you have in the Q&A section about any topic or vertical, anything on your mind. And hopefully we can produce another episode in the near future with Umbra again, where we can feature some of these other use cases and applications in other fields. So a quick rundown of the agenda. So Arnaud will start. Most of you, or at least many of you, already know of EUSI, European Space Imaging. So I think Arnaud won't bore you so much with some of our About Us details, but he will go ahead and touch on sort of EUSI's partners and how that fits into the European EO market and sort of our positioning there. And then we'll go to Nicholas. He'll talk about Umbra, their data, their capabilities, their tasking platform, future outlook, quite a bit of information there. And then we'll jump back over to Arnaud, where we'll actually look into some use cases, some real security and emergency use cases that we have on the books. After that, we'll do a few minutes of live Q&A. And so on that note, before we get started, just a couple quick housekeeping notes. Any questions that you have, please put in the Q&A section and not in the chat. Chat is fine for all the hellos and stuff, but the Q&A section really allows us to keep those questions organized. We have a few people behind the scenes that can answer some of the more simple ones just with a text response. And then some of them we'll choose to answer live at the end during our Q&A session. Also, if you want to go full screen and sort of get rid of all of the distractions on your screen, you at any time can exit out of your chat window and there will be a full screen option. So, and I think without any further delay, we'll go ahead and jump to Arnaud to start the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. I will share my screen now. All right, should be able to see it now. I will start with a quick overview about who we are, and then I'll give some information, some background about our partnership with Umbra and why we choose Umbra as a partner for our SAR capabilities. Our company has been founded in 2002 to bring a very unique capability at the time, which was the first VHR optical commercial satellite, ICONOS. So the company has been founded to operate an infrastructure, the ground station that we see here. And ever since, we developed and upgraded to always propose to the European market the best of satellite imagery, not only focusing on delivering the best resolution, but also focusing on delivering reliably and fast. As of today, we are the only European supplier who can deliver VHR imagery under 30 minutes. Several images produced in parallel and still matching the target time of 30 minutes. And we are striving to deliver images under 15 minutes NRT. So as I was mentioning, Iconos back then, 80 centimeter. Then we've upgraded to propose a QuickBird at 61 centimeter. That was quite a gap back then. Then Worldview 1 panchromatic, 50 centimeter resolution, followed by GEOI 1, 41 centimeter. So the first satellite to propose the images commercially under the threshold of 50 centimeter. Then Worldview 2 at 46 centimeter, 8 spectral bands, another breakthrough, and another one a few years after with Worldview 3 at 31 centimeter, 8 multispectral bands, plus 8 shortwave infrared bands. In 2016, Worldview 4, 31 centimeter. And last year, we partnered with Umbra to complement our offer with SAR imagery. And this year, we will come with Worldview Legion, with the launch expected in the upcoming months. Our ground station is our way to communicate with Maxar satellites. It has been upgraded last year to communicate with the Legion satellite. So we are all ready. We are waiting for the satellites. And as soon as they are operational, commissioned, we'll be able to continue our service. So what are the benefits of operating such an infrastructure in Europe? First, it allows last-minute order entry. It allows for dynamic collection planning. So we have a team of collection planners that every day of the year, preparing, refining tasking plans, taking into account the real cloud coverage, taking into account potential sun glints. Of course, it allows also for what we call the NRT delivery. So delivery as fast as we can after collection. And another advantage is that it gives us the flexibility to develop interfaces on top of the infrastructure. So API, special deliveries, connections with other interfaces. I was mentioning Legion. The launch is planned very soon with the 2 first satellites on sun-synchronous orbits for a total of 6 satellites, potentially 8 satellites, 30 centimeter resolution, and that will increase by 3 our capacity to collect 30 centimeter imagery. At the moment, we only have Worldview 3, and as soon as we'll have Legion, we'll be able to deliver much more, increase our capacity drastically. And still 8 multispectral bands for deeper analysis of radiometric content of the images. We have here on the right a simulated list of access combining all the satellites. That represents a dozen's access per day over a single location. So as you know, the space industry is booming. There are so many new space companies, new capabilities. At European Space Imaging, we always have 2 questions. The first one is, which one is the next breakthrough? Because we want to bring that capability in Europe. And the second one is, which one is of interest for the European market? So when we choose to partner with a company providing new capabilities, we not only, of course, we aim to distribute those images to make them accessible to our audience, but in our partnership, we always strive to guide those companies to be sure that what they propose is adapted to the needs of our very market. So that's our endeavor here when choosing a new partner. And that's in that spirit that we decided to partner with Umbra. Until now, we were only working with optical imagery, and so that's the first time. And we decided to also propose SAR imagery. Why? So of course, because of the all-weather, all-time imaging capabilities of SAR imagery, and we have more and more time series and demands for multiple acquisition over the same area. But as you know, optical imagery is hindered by cloud, and that kind of interrupts the monitoring programs that we have. So that's the first point, why we decided to complement our offer with SAR imagery. Second is because SAR is an active sensor, optical is a passive sensor, so SAR brings complementary potential for analysis that are not possible with optical. So backscattering analysis, bistatic capability, surface roughness, soil moisture. So that is really complementary with optical. Talking about bistatic, maybe we'll expand a bit later into that, but that capability gives the opportunity to detect moving targets with their speed, with their heading. So it provides a critical information. And also tipping and queuing capabilities. So that means being able to detect activity on SAR and then immediately trigger a collection with another sensor to bring additional information. So we choose Umbra, and we chose them because they have a competitive advantage on all points. First, they propose the highest resolution on the market with the easiest license, Creative Commons license on satellite imagery. That's unprecedented, and that's facilitating the distribution and the adoption of imagery. This is a very simple, straightforward pricing, which is also the lowest pricing on the market. And there is an impressive, reliable self-service tasking interface that will be presented by Nicholas. So all those points make us partner with Umbra, and we are sure that this the perfect complementary solution to what we are doing now. So I will give now the floor to Nicolas, which will present in details Umbra's offer and Canopy, the tasking platform.
Yeah, thank you, Arnaud. Let me share my screen here, and I'll get started for you all. Arnaud actually did my presentation there, so you'll see a little duplication in what I cover with you all today. But yes, thank you for the handoff there. Very excited to work with you guys at European Space Imaging and just have the opportunity to present to everybody today. So what I want to do first is just introduce you to Umbra, inform you of our current products, products that we're working on for the future. I'm going to show some examples of SAR imagery just as it relates to potential use cases, so you can see how our products are being used. And then also, as Arnaud had mentioned, I'll talk about Canopy. It is our self-tasking platform. So, oops, sorry, y'all. So the first thing that I want to do here is just talk about who is Umbra. I want to introduce ourselves to you guys briefly. So who are we? We are a data provider of X-band synthetic aperture radar. We're based out of Santa Barbara, California. And to understand kind of the mission and what we're doing with you guys as our partners and customers, just kind of want to introduce our mission, our vision, and our goal, and then we'll get into kind of talking about differentiators and projects or products, excuse me. So our mission at Umbra is to deliver global omniscience by building space systems that observe the Earth in unprecedented fidelity. Our vision here is to advance insights through high-quality commercial remote sensing and intelligence gathering. And then our goal is to support organizations like everybody on the phone with us today or on the webinar with us today that use or hopefully will use our images to address the planet's most pressing needs. So the next thing that I'll get into, and Arnaud touched on this a bit, but what I want to talk about is what we call the Umbra difference, or what we believe makes us a great partner for your SAR needs. And as Arno had mentioned, simple, straightforward pricing. So this very quickly allows you guys, as customers of synthetic aperture data, to see if this meets your budget and then also accommodates your mission needs. We also have the CC by 4.0 licensing. So this is a single open permissive license. It quickly allows you to not only procure the data, but then also to respond to your needs and your missions very quickly. So both, complement one another, and both very easy ways to work with Umbra as a data provider. We do, as Arno had mentioned, have the highest resolution commercial SAR data on the market. Tasking is made easy through an API, or we do have Canopy, the self-tasking platform that I'll introduce you to as I wrap up my presentation today. And then mutual partnerships. This is important to us. With our partners, we do not do analytics, so we will not be competing with you. We want to provide you with affordable, high-resolution data to meet your mission-critical needs. The next thing that I want to do, I want to highlight a few additional differentiators of Umbra and the Umbra product. So Umbra has the highest bandwidth commercially licensed SAR system in operation, making full use of 1200 megahertz allocated by the ITU for X-band sensing. The Umbra images will have up to 2.5 more bandwidth than other SAR providers. We also are the only commercial company delivering the true 25 centimeter ground projected resolution data. And then also, because of the way that our satellite images, the way that we slew and settle, we have the ability to collect up to 7 times more spotlight data per pass than our competitors. So again, wanted to share how easy it is to work with us. We're very transparent in the pricing. You know what you're getting. It's very easy to acquire our data and then utilize that for your own research, to sell it, remix it, whatever you may need to do there. So wanted to provide just who we are, some differentiators for us in the market to our competitors. And please, if you have questions, let us know. I have a great team supporting me, as Matthew had mentioned, in the chat as well, so we can answer questions there. The next thing that I want to do here is just talk about, again, it's not SAR versus optical here, as Arno had mentioned. It's a great complement to one another with the active and passive sensors. So at any given time, 60% of the Earth can be or will be dark, cloudy, or both. So the optical satellites are unable to persistently image the important areas of interest. And the key word there that I want to highlight is that word of persistent. So with SAR satellite, it is your insurance. It is the capability to capture images at any point. So SAR actively illuminates the Earth. It's illumination independent. It can generate images through cloud, through smoke, through fog, through total darkness. All of these things, I think we'll look at a comparison of optical and SAR imagery complementing one another. And the thing that you'll notice is a lot of these natural events that we're dealing with, earthquakes, volcanoes, tornadoes, whatever it may be, do happen with clouds and smoke and fog. Also, things like illegal fishing, transfer on waters, things like that. A lot of people doing these things are not doing those in the broad daylight. So SAR does complement optical very well. The persistent monitoring piece is very handy if you're looking for change detection and things along those lines. And it's not only the monitoring piece that's beneficial, it's also having the capability to respond to things like natural events, monitoring before, during, and after, to know where to put resources, move individuals, things along those lines. So again, we see it as a great complement, the sensors together, and just kind of wanted to echo what Arno had shared there as well. The next thing that I want to do is get into our products. And when I talk about our products today, what I will talk about are things that you have available to you as a customer in both Canopy, the user interface, and through our API. I'll also talk about some products that we would need to currently today help with from our collect optimization teams, our processing teams. So I'll introduce some of those, and then I'll talk about future products as well. Nothing really to say here other than I simply wanted to share. I thought this was a fascinating image. This is a multi-looked image. This is an image that we've included the color sub Aperture product that allows you to see some different man-made objects there on the image. So I wanted to share that with you briefly. I just thought it was a fascinating image to share, and something that shows the capabilities of the Umbra SAR satellite. So just wanted to show that to you, or satellites. Oops, sorry, y'all. The next thing that I want to talk about is our actual product, what we have to offer you today. And we are, again, X-band. We are Spotlight. So the Spotlight mode is the mode that we utilize right now for capturing images with you. Our standard footprint is a 5x5 footprint. If you've historically worked with us, we started with a 4x4. We moved to a 5x5 standard footprint. So just wanted to let you know that, because as we get into Canopy today, you will see the default as a 5x5, but you'll still see that old 4x4 footprint. We are looking to deprecate that at the end of the quarter. So just wanted to let you know that. But on the right-hand side of the image that I have here for you, this is a 5x5 SAR image collected by our satellite. We do offer 25 centimeter, 35 centimeter, 0.5, and 1 meter resolution. We can multi-look your image up to 10 times for enhanced detail. So when we get into Canopy, you'll see we max out at 4 looks for a 1 meter, 2 looks for a 0.5 meter. This is the case where currently our team could support multiple looks above 4, but they are available out there to you. Just wanted to let you know that today. And then as far as the product that we deliver to you when you work with Umbra SAR, we provide the GeoTIFF, the SICID, and the JSON, the metadata. In addition, we can deliver the SIDD. And then for an additional cost, and this is out there transparent again on the website, on social media, you can see our pricing. The CPHD, the compensated phase history data, does have an additional cost to that. So I wanted to mention that. The next thing that I want to talk about here is the benefit, or the ability to do an extended spotlight. So when we get into Canopy, you'll see the 5x5 default spotlight. You'll also see the capability to move and task a 10x10. So what we're showing here on the right-hand side of this slide is a 5x5 on top of a 10x10 kilometer image. And as you can see, that will allow for 300% more scene size. Now, the thing that we'll talk about, depending on your use case, what your use case is, it's something like flooding, open water monitoring, and things like that. Just simply want to be mindful, the larger the scene size, we can even go into an extended footprint of 20 by 13 kilometers. With that, you want to be mindful of potential degradation around the edges or how that impacts your potential use case. So one thing that I will mention there, and we'll talk about it, I think, a little bit more later, is we have a wonderful open data set. It is free and available to you guys through our umbra.space website. That's a prime place for you all to see each of our data products that we offer, see if it would meet your mission needs, and also just help to understand, does a 5x5 spotlight make sense? Does a 10x10? Does the natural footprint suffice for me? And it also helps you understand what the different resolutions look like with those scene sizes, and also the different multi-looks, how that impacts your potential collect. So wanted to point that out to you. The next thing here, just kind of, I wanted to share these images. I think these are 3 fascinating images that we've captured here with Umbra satellites, but also just as a refresher of the last few slides there. So scene size available to you all as customers working through Canopy of the API through our friends at European Space Imaging. We offer a 5x5 standard footprint. You can also capture the 10x10, as I mentioned. You have the capability to choose a resolution of 25 centimeters up to 1 meter. And then also we can currently multi-look up to 10 times for enhanced detail. And here, just kind of wanted to show you a few images. The far image on the left there, you can see wonderful color between the water itself and the land. You can see vessels actually out on the water. You can see very clear detail on the ships at port. So just kind of wanted to show that. We see an example in the middle of a post eruption of a volcano. So you're actually seeing that lava cover on the ground there. And then on the right, a fascinating image of Washington, D.C. there, where we're actually seeing the urban setting. We can actually see the infrastructure there. You can see the land, the bridges, the water very clearly. So if I think about this, these are very neat to see, I think, fascinating images, but it also helps you understand if you start thinking about use cases. So in an urban area over time, persistent monitoring, as we talked about, you can see the change in the infrastructure of the urban area. If there's a flooding event, you can see things like the depth and the breadth of the water as it goes into those urban areas. So one, just kind of wanted to highlight again the products that we offer, but also share some images that I think are fascinating, but then also the use cases that those maybe bring to play outside of just simply having a very neat image here to share for the sake of the webinar. The next thing that I have here is just an example, another example of Umbra data being utilized. Again, persistent monitoring, if you're monitoring factories or areas here. I think, again, this is a fascinating image just showing the geography of where this gigafactory for Tesla is located in Sparks, Nevada. But it also shows you in the cutout the ability to identify vehicles or objects on land. This, with persistent monitoring, will help you understand the units, adding to the units in this lot or any units leaving this lot. So wanted to share that with you all. The next slide I have here, on the left-hand side, we got the full Umbra SAR image. And again, if you think about persistent monitoring here of the Optical National Park, what you are seeing in the cutout on the right-hand side of this slide is actually illegal deforestation and mining. So very fascinating image where this has been identified. But again, if you think about this in a natural event like a tornado or something like that, if you're having persistent monitoring of an area like a national park like this, you can see deforestation, you can see illegal mining, you can see things like damage or destruction caused by natural events. So wanted to share this one with you, just again to spark your interest, not only in what you're seeing here, but the other potential use cases that can come out of this. The next thing, next image I'm going to show you here, this is a 0.5 meter 9 multi-looked image. So this is just, to me, this is a very fascinating image for multiple reasons. This is multi-looked. We've also applied the color sub aperture, so you can see some of those man-made structures there in the course of this image. But the things that I want to point out to you, again, very crisp designation between the water, between the land. This is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You have both the football and the baseball stadium setting there on the Allegheny River. And we have a cutout here of PNC Park, the baseball stadium there. And I think what's fascinating about this park, if you look at this image, this is a 0.5 meter resolution image, but as you look into that cutout, you actually have the capability to see the seats in that park. You can see the direction the grass is cut. You can tell the difference between the soil and the ground. So when you think about other use cases, you think about agriculture, you think about being able to see a barren versus a full field. You think about flood coverage and how that's impacted the soil. So you think about some of those types of things. You can see the street posts very clearly. You can see the very large light posts. You can see the cross lines in there. So just some fascinating detail. I think it's an amazing image to show what our team can support as far as a 9 multi-looked image to reduce the speckle and aid in visual interpretation. But I also think it's just a fascinating image to help you understand the detail that you can see in other potential use cases. So, think about if the Allegheny River decided to flood there on Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I hope that's not the case ever, but if it did, you could see that extent going out into that urban area. You could see the impact on roads and buildings and things like that. So just a fascinating image and another way that Umbra SAR data can be utilized. We've talked about persistent monitoring, the opportunity to capture images, illumination independent, weather independent. So here, just wanted to show another example. This is an aircraft carrier move. So this took place between 1227 and 1229. So this is a mooring test. So just an example here of persistent monitoring. Showing an example here of change detection. So this is, again, something that our team can support and assist you guys with as customers. What we have here is offering naval base in Cambodia. This is a ship-to-ship transfer between 1118 and 1120. And then we've used the common colors of red to show fled, blue as new in this image, and then white is unchanged. So again, not something that you could do directly in the Canopy, the tasking platform, or through the API, but this is something that our optimization and processing teams can support you guys with. So wanted to share an example there. Another example of change detection. So this is a recent volcano eruption in Iceland. And what we're showing here in this short video here is a 2-color differential. And we're basically showing the location of the lava flow and then also the departing ship. So in this image that you're seeing, or this series that you're seeing, you're actually seeing blue is the lava and red is the ice melting in this image. So another example of what our teams can support and help you guys with persistent monitoring before, during, and after, and then the products that we can provide with you. We've talked about this again, persistent monitoring, the Umbra difference, or the differentiator, the way we slew and settle and capture images in your AOIs. On the right, we're showing a persistent monitoring of an equatorial rainforest here. So 3,600 square kilometers of collects happening on a quarterly basis. Again, Umbra can capture up to 7 times more spotlight data. Arnaud had talked about it. We've talked about it. I think if you're looking to schedule dense collections in small areas or even repeat monitoring, Umbra is the choice there for you, with the price, with the capabilities of the satellite, the data, the output, the feasibility. So wanted to share that with you guys here. And then the next thing that I'll do is talk about a couple future modes that we are working on and planning for the future. Also want to point out, again, another fascinating image of Paris. You can see the Eiffel Tower there. We have the CSI product on this image that our team can support. But as far as future modes that we're looking at, strip map, ideally, we hear from a lot of customers the need for larger swath areas and things like that. Strip map does efficiently, monitor vast areas. So what we're showing you here at the bottom of this slide is a 10-kilometer by 120-kilometer scene size in Phoenix, Arizona, here in the United States. And then on the base map there on the right-hand side, that blue rectangle there represents the 10 by 120 strip map that we've cut out here. And then the other mode that we're looking at is a mosaic mode. And you can see that there on the right-hand side of my slide, but it simply enables that high-resolution spotlight data collection across multiple adjacent areas to just seamlessly be stitched together. So those are 2 modes that we're currently looking at. The next thing that I want to do with you guys is I want to actually talk about Canopy, our self-tasking platform. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen just for 1 minute. So I can pull up Canopy, and then I will share my screen again. This gives you just a little idea on the slide, but I'm going to pull up the live environment for you. All right, thank you for your patience there as I transition screens here. So for the sake of the call today, I've skipped the login screen with you all, and I brought you into Canopy, our self-tasking platform. There's a few different pieces that I can point out in Canopy, but what I want to do with you today is just jump right into the tasking piece of it, show you how easy it is to come into Canopy and task in our satellite, or task one of our satellites. So you have the capability when you come in to simply drop a pin on a map. You have the opportunity to put in your longitude and latitude, or you can search a location. So we are located in Santa Barbara. So I'm going to go ahead and put Santa Barbara, California in here. I'm going to click on my AOI. Now, the thing is, again, our default scene size is a 5 by 5 kilometer scene size. That will be the blue circle that you're seeing on the screen. You're guaranteed that footprint. Now, of course, we're going to deliver a square image to you, but you are seeing the guaranteed footprint in blue there. I've searched my location here. I have the capability then to select my resolution and looks. And again, we saw some examples on the webinar today that our team would currently have to support with you all. But for now, you have the capability to come in. If I wanted to capture a 0.5 meter 2-look image or 1-look image, I have the capability here. You'll see a note that our grazing angle has changed. So we do have some guardrails there to help you get an optimal collect. So I'm going to say a 0.5 meter 2-look image. You will see the default scene size of 5x5. When I click on this drop down, again, briefly, you will still see the 4x4. That will go away at the end of the quarter, and you'll see the options for the 5x5 and the 10x10. If I want to expand my footprint to the 10x10, simply come here. That will expand on the map. So again, you can see your guaranteed footprint. We do have advanced parameters as well around azimuth, around polarization. So if you want to go in there and modify those, you can. Polarization, for example, the default setting is VV, so vertical send, vertical receive. We do have the capability to do HH collects as well. So if that is a better selection for your use case, you can go into the advanced parameters and change those. We offer 7 days of feasibility. So you'll see that window. You could actually shorten that window. Currently, we do not offer feasibility outside of a 7-day window. Once you've selected your AOI, your resolution, and the number of looks, your scene size, and either modified this to shorten it or kept it at the same, you can click on your search button here. And then what this is going to do, this is going to start checking our schedule for the feasibility for the 7-day window in order for you to capture that 50 centimeter 2-look image that you want to capture. So as soon as this loads, then I'll walk you through what this page looks like and how you test the satellite. And I guess for sake of time, this should happen fairly quickly. I did go ahead and pull up another screen for you guys where this was loaded. So for our location of Santa Barbara, what you will see out here is multiple feasibility options for that 7-day window. Again, if we're talking about persistent monitoring, if I want to capture a few images, I can come over here to the right-hand side and say I want to capture an image on Thursday. If I want to get detail around my collect, I can get some additional tasking detail by opening this up here. I can export this out if I want to have a conversation with somebody around the potential options for tasking. Now, keep in mind, we are FIFO, first in, first out. So our schedule can change if there's competition in that area. But this allows you to see tasking details. It allows you to capture one image, or if I say I want to capture this on Thursday, on Friday, and I also, a lot of availability on Friday, I want to capture this on Saturday as well. I can select those 3. Our platform will tell you that you have 3 opportunities selected. I can click here to schedule the task. Now you will see a red asterisk to denote that a task name is required. We will put one in there, but be mindful of that. It may be something that you want to change. This is also the case where if you wanted CPHD, the compensated phase history data, you could come in here and capture that. Standard delivery of your products, your GeoTIFF, your SICD, your JSON, will be in the Canopy user interface unless you set up an AWS S3 bucket. So on the left-hand navigation over here, we have an organization tab that allows you to do that. We'd highly encourage the AWS S3 bucket, but I wanted to point that out because there is also a data delivery method here. It's either Canopy, the user interface, or that AWS S3 bucket, and you select that here. So once I've selected the 3 images that I want to capture, I simply hit Submit Task Request. And then you're going to get notification that your task was successfully submitted, which is great. You will be able then on the left-hand side of your screen, so left-hand navigation again, be able to go out to a task tab. And then what this is going to do, this is going to show you anything you've historically tasked in the Canopy platform. So you can access that data if you want. It's going to show you the 3 new tasks that we currently have. Now, this is in a status of accepted. What we're looking for is for that accepted to move to scheduled, to know that our satellite image and our feasibility has been accepted and is placed onto the schedule. There's a series of additional tasks that are going to happen between scheduled and delivered, but this is also where we can set or where we can come back in here at any time and see our updates. We can see the status. And then while we're waiting on those, what I want to do is just point out for an image that's been delivered, on the right-hand side of our screen here, if we choose to have it delivered in Canopy in the user interface, you can come in here, you can see tasking details, your tasking parameters that were used. You have the capability to come right in here and download any of the products. So had I added CPHD, I'd have the opportunity as well to download the CPHD. So tasking is easy as that. Going in, selecting your parameters, checking our feasibility, hitting the schedule button. Again, those scheduled tasks will go out to the task tab. You can watch the status. Once it's delivered, you have the capability then to come in here and download that data. I do want to mention to you just briefly as well, we are in a live environment, but our sandbox mode is available to you guys using the Canopy platform. If you want to walk through tasking, what the delivery looks like, what the product looks like without actually purchasing the satellite imagery, you can do that just for testing purposes. The other thing that I want to point out, and I won't spend a lot of time here today on the call, but I do want to point out we do have our resources tab, which does have our developer docs. Will help you out if you need to set up an AWS S3 bucket. We'll get you the information through European Space Imaging on delivery configs. We also have all our information to walk you through, very easy setup of an API. And then also product guides that simply just keep you up to date on any of the products that we have, products that we're working on, any kind of changes to our satellite, the products, or Canopy, the platform for cell tasking. I talked quite a bit. That's what I wanted to walk through with you guys today. Again, very happy to be here. Appreciate it, Matthew and Arnaud. And just kind of wanted to introduce you guys to Umbra and our products, and then also Canopy, our self-tasking platform. And Arnaud, I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll turn the floor back over to you.
Thank you, Nicholas. It was really fascinating to see those multi-look acquisitions, colored imagery. I will share my screen for presentations of some use cases combining optical and SAR. We are. Okay, so I was mentioning during the first part of the webinar that our ground station allow for quick deliveries. I have 3 examples demonstrating that capabilities. This first one over Montenegro, order received the 19th of December in the afternoon. Collection happened the day after at 10. 16 minutes after the image was delivered to the customer. Another one that happened earlier this month over Antalya in Turkey. Order received the 22nd of February in the evening, so 6:30. Collection happened early morning the day after. The image was delivered 30 minutes after collection to the end customer. And the third example over Libya. The order was received the 26th of December in the afternoon. Collection happened the day after in the morning, and the delivery time was 12 minutes. That is for our fast delivery capability. Now I want to show you persistent monitoring over the port of Tartus, Syria, which is of interest for many of our customers. So we used to take images over this area very, very often, sometimes every day. However, over this area, sometimes the weather is not good, especially during winter. All right, so here we have on the timeline pretty challenging weather window that are hindering the collection with optical. So we collected the 22nd of December, the 24th of December. And then during this challenging weather window, we had one collection, which was completely cloudy on the 6th of January. So I was mentioning dynamic collection planning. So if our collection planning team sees that the weather is completely overcast over an area, usually they don't task. It would be a waste of resources. So that's why we don't have many collections over this weather, this window. Then the weather became good again. We had the collection the 20th of January, 25th, 3rd of February, 9th of February, all cloud-free. Then another cloudy window occurred. We had one collection, optical collection, on the 15th of February. And then we started with Umbra to complement our collection and to ensure the monitoring. So we had an Umbra collection on the 19th of February. Then 3 cloud-free optical collection. Again, the weather was pretty bad. So over those couple of days, we had 2 Umbra collection and 1 cloudy image optical and 1 non-cloudy. So, for example, the 15th of February, the port was cloudy on the optical image, but on the 19th we had this Umbra image that, of course, was not impacted by the weather, and that allow for the identification of the boats that are enshrored in the port. Another use case which happened earlier this month was over the Çöpler gold mine in Turkey. So a terrible landslide happened on the 13th of February at 2:30 UTC. And we received an emergency order the day after in the morning. So we received the order around 10 a.m. And we had actually a pass available, but earlier in the day. So we couldn't collect because we didn't know we had to collect over this area. In any way, the weather was cloudy. So later in the day, we decided to go for tasking with Umbra because we were receiving demands for imagery over the area. So that was the only way to collect. We placed the order and we received the images the same day. Actually, we had another collection opportunity with optical on the day after, which was also cloudy. So that was the only opportunity to deliver imagery, and that was done on the same day, which is quite impressive, and that allows for the delineation of the landslide. We are proposing what we call double shot, which is a synchronization of collection with optical and SAR. So there are two options. Either you want your optical collection to be backed up with SAR, and then after the collection of our optical imagery, we'll take the first opportunity with SAR. Or if you want really a synchronized collection, then we can leverage our collection planning team who will analyze the orbits of both constellations and match and look at the opponent that are matching. So here we have a couple of examples of matching collection times. So on the left, an optical collection, which is very, very easy over Famagusta in Cyprus. And 11 minutes after, we collected with Umbra 5. We have another example of synchronized tasking over Lisbon, Portugal. 2 images captured 10 minutes apart. And we have another example over Libya, over an airfield, and those are 5 minutes apart. And this one is quite interesting because there is military assets here, vehicles and tents, and the Umbra image really provides additional information with the backscattering. Here, a use case which is about the storm Daniel hitting the city of Derna in Libya. That was in September last year. We see here on the right a map done in the framework of Copernicus EMS. So we see that the city has been pretty impacted by the flood. We received order from Copernicus EMS, but as it was a storm, obviously the weather was very cloudy. So the storm happened on the 10th of September. You can see the cloud coverage the same day. So we couldn't collect the same day. The day after, the AOI remains too cloudy for optical collections. On the 12th of September, so that's already 2 days after the event, we have what we call popcorn clouds over the area. So those clouds are very sparse, but they would hinder completely the collection and prevent an analysis of the images. So we decided to collect images with Umbra, and we see here on the right this collection, which happened the 12th of September. And here we have a comparison before and after, where we can see very clearly that the bridge has been washed away by the flood. So these Umbra images actually allowed a first assessment showing that 4 bridges were completely destroyed, so cutting the town in half. It shows also how badly the seafront has been affected by the storm, and showing also significant damage over the buildings here in this area. That is only on the 13th of September that we've been able to collect optical images. We have collected 4 images over the north coast of Libya here with WorldView 2. And actually the same day we had a pass with GEOI and a pass with WorldView 1. All those satellites collected dozens of images, which allowed to provide additional context to the initial insight provided by SAR imagery. And that was my last slide, so I will give back the floor to Matthew for the wrap-up.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Arnaud and Nicholas. I think we got a lot of great information there. There's also a few good questions that we have. We had a flood of questions in the Q&A section. I think the staff for both organizations have answered quite a few of them. But there's a few trends in the questions that I think I'd like to throw to you guys live, if we could do that. So the first one, let's see. I'll ask this to Arnaud. So you just went over the option of double shot tasking, sort of this combined optical and SAR tasking approach, a couple different options for that. Could you explain a little bit how this looks for or works for a distributor or end user for tasking SAR imagery through EUSI? What does that process and workflow look like?
Okay, there are two options. Either we provide a Canopy account to the end user, and he's doing the tasking himself, as Nicolas demonstrated, and we can, if optical imagery is required, coordinate with the customer. Another option is we are doing the tasking on behalf of the customer based on his requirements. So if there is a requirement for first image, first access available, we'll do that on their behalf and deliver the image. If there is a requirement for in-depth analysis of the orbits combining optical and SAR, we can also do that. And after a couple of back and forth to select the relevant opportunities, then we trigger the tasking.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. So another trend I saw in the comments and the also the pre-event survey that we sent around. Obviously, there is a lot of interest and demand for change detection capabilities, particularly with interferometry in SAR. So with this high demand in mind, I understand that currently Umbra does not have those capabilities. However, there is some news in the direction of bistatic collections, which also have significant applications aligning with INSAR capabilities. Nicolas, could you tell us a little bit more, any insights you have about bistatic collections and what that means for the market?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're correct there. We currently do not offer INSAR. We have been currently doing work with our last two satellites around bistatic. So I think what we are looking at are opportunities to move there in the future. It's definitely something that we hear quite a bit, especially in the European market, as we've worked with customers there. So yeah, you're accurate in stating INSAR is not something that we currently offer. We are taking steps towards that in the future. And then, yeah, definitely we'll keep you guys abreast to any kind of product changes or updates that we have there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think personally, I think it's pretty exciting to see some of these bistatic possibilities move from the R&D floor to hopefully real world applications soon. So that'll be exciting to see. So
absolutely.
Next question, I'll also toss it to you, Nicolas. This is a bit more specific on the Canopy platform.
Okay.
Saw a couple questions in there about both rejected tasks, rejected collections, and also persistent monitoring. So the first question would be, what options does a user have when their selected task is rejected? Are they offered at that moment alternatives? Should they start the search over? And then a follow-up question would be, are there capabilities for scheduling persistent monitoring over a long period of time?
Yeah, two great questions. I think the first one with rejected, typically, from my experience with working with customers, if they are getting a rejection when trying to task the Canopy platform, that typically is around a restricted access area. So we do have some restricted access areas, some of our comms locations, Ukraine, the conflict in Ukraine and Russia, we have a restricted access area there, and kind of bordering those areas. So it may be the case where individuals are getting a rejection there because of that. That doesn't always mean that we can't capture an image there. It means they cannot self-task in that area. But I think the option there would be to reach out to the team at Umbra, and we could see if we could capture in one of those areas, if it's a comm location or something, where we can maneuver with downlinking and uplinking to provide that. That's typically the rejected piece. I can't think of anything like off the top of my head other than the RAAs that may cause that in Canopy. If customers are seeing that, we can always work with them to see what is causing the rejection, and then also look to see if there's availability for a collect. So happy to do that. And then remind me, Matthew, the second piece of that one.
No problem. Is there the possibility of scheduling persistent monitoring? And actually, maybe after you touch on this, maybe Arnu would also have a point to mention, because maybe there's capabilities within Canopy, or maybe it's advantageous to sort of outsource that through EUSI also. So please take it away, Nicholas.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for reminding me there. So with that, as we saw in Canopy, we're only showing 7 days of feasibility. Right now, there's nothing in the functionality that says, I want this AOI captured every month, every quarter, whatever it may be. Now, those are things that we definitely can do, and that is one of the main benefits of SAR imagery. Right now, that is being done through our collect optimization team. So we can support that as far as getting a routine of capturing, like we saw the example of the equatorial forest, like once a quarter, we're doing this, large, dense collection. So we can do those things. Right now, it's not in Canopy, the user interface right now.
Okay. And Arnu, do you have anything to add to that? Any value that EUSI could bring to that?
Yes. If a customer is interested by persistent monitoring, then he can hand over the task to place those recurrent orders in Canopy to us. And despite only 7 days in advance are available for tasking, we could put that on our schedule and ensure that we are collecting the images over his monitoring pattern.
Okay, yeah, great. Let's see, so I've noticed some interest around a vertical that we're not really talking about today in industry so much. We've talked a lot about security, emergency management, but there is some interest for agriculture as well. I from a personal standpoint, I think that the industry, the EO industry as a whole, is still sort of learning and getting used to SAR data. I think that there's a lot of untapped opportunities. I think especially working with such high resolution data, being able to gain insights, let's say if we're talking about agriculture, now on a plant level, this is something that we have been able to do with Optical, and really just now getting into the possibility to gain agriculture insights on a plant level with SAR imagery. That being said, Nicholas or Arnu, do you have any ideas or news about potential applications, things that you're excited about, industries that you're excited about being transformed with some of this data? Anything outside of the applications that we've spoken about today a little bit?
Regarding agriculture, I wanted to mention that it's a topic that is investigated since decades, since the ERS1, NVSAT, and so on. Here, the change is that Umbra is able to capture much more images than we had possibly in the past at very high resolution. So I would say that for researcher, there is a field of investigation here on what's the potential of those data for agriculture, and I'm thinking about, for example, grassland cuts, which is a topic of interest in the framework of LPIS, for example. Another interesting topic for agriculture is the combination of Umbra images with Sentinel-1.
Yeah, great.
Hey, Matthew. Sorry, Matthew. I did want to point out as well, in our open data set, we talked about it a little bit, or I mentioned it a little bit. We do have some persistent monitoring of agriculture, so there are agricultural collects in there. So in that use case in particular, if individuals were interested in seeing SAR data around a few locations that we have captured and provide there, those are out there and free and available for folks to see.
Great. Yeah. I think that's a good point. I think you did also mention it in the slides, but in case anyone missed it, and just now, Umbra does have quite an extensive open data offering. You could get access to that directly from Umbra or by contacting EUSI. So yeah, I think we do have a few other questions in the Q&A section. I think they're a little narrow and technical for live responses, but don't worry, everyone that is asking questions will get a written response either directly in the chat here or in an email afterwards. Able to download and respond to all of these that we don't catch in the actual chat box. But I think unless you guys have anything else that you want to throw on top of the discussion today, I think I would go ahead and cap it there. Yeah, great. So thank you again, Arnaud and Nicholas. Thank you everyone else that attended. I think we had a lot of interest in this topic. As I said, the high resolution, very high resolution SAR imagery is I think really new on the market. I think it's going to have a lot of potential for the European EO industry, and I think we're all sort of excited to see what this is going to look like in 6 months or a year's time. So, all right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew.
Yeah,
thank you, Arnaud.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah,
Have a
Thank
nice
you,
day.
everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.